Hey, Scott. Good. Thank you for your email. Your timing was absolutely extraordinary. I was just having this conversation with someone else about what is money? Why do we need it? And rah, rah, rah. It's a question that we get, and it's something that we sometimes struggle with because we need it to pay the hydro, to pay the rent, to buy food, to do all these things. And sometimes our bills kind of pile up on us, and that's what we focus on. And when we do that, we contract, right? So let's go the other way. What is money? Money is energy. We are energy. Money is a tool. Now, I'm not going to call ourselves a tool, but essentially, we can look at ourselves as also a tool. When you think about it, you go to work, you do your job, you are completing a task for your employer, you receive money for that. It's an exchange of services and an exchange of money, energy. Look at it another way. In order to open up your receiving, first of all, I have to remind you, you need to say thank you more often. We do that. When somebody buys us a coffee and a donut, we may not actually want the coffee and the donut at that particular point in time. However, by saying no, we're essentially slamming the door shut. We're reducing our energy level. If you think about the way you wake up in the morning, your energy is up here, money energy is up here. You go through your day, you get a flat tire, your energy level drops. You go to the mechanic with the car, they tell you your brakes need repair. Your energy level drops again. And that's completely normal. However, money's energy level stays up here. You just dropped yours. It's an ingrained thing. It's what we're programmed to do, but that's okay. Be aware of how you're feeling and be able to bring yourself back up to the same energy. Now, when you get the information about the car having to get repaired, I was, oh, yeah, that sucks. But I know once the car is repaired, I can help the lady down the road. She's a little bit older. She needs to go shopping this week. The weather's been nasty. So I'm going to give her a ride to the store and save her some time and some energy, probably cab fare. She's going to be so happy that you offered to help her out that she's actually going to give you something in return, which is probably going to be 20 bucks. Even if it's not that, if she bakes you a pie, that's the same thing. It's a different form of energy. So in order to open up your doors for receiving, you have to allow yourself to receive, which includes the coffee and the donut, the pie, or even the $20 that somebody's going to hand you because you helped them out with something. You can open up the doors to receiving in many, many ways. And the other part of that is remembering that when you give, and you've already experienced this because we had that conversation last time around, when you give, when you offer to help someone without any expectation of return, you feel fabulous. You remember you said you had that little giddy feeling inside when you saw the big grin on that person's face just because you held the door for them because they were having a bad day and you paid attention. You noticed that the face wasn't smiling. You said, let me get that door for you. You put a big smile on your face, you open the door, and that person glowed. You remember that? That was an amazing thing that you told me. Do more of that. That simple act is opening your doors to receiving. And in order to actually receive more money, that's one way of doing it. But look around your house. What is it you can get rid of? Have a yard sale. Offer to carpool for a week. Everybody can exchange the money energy level on that. What are your little hobbies other than coaching? Because I know how much you love that too. What are the other things you can do? Think about all the things you like to do. Have another poker game. Do you remember? Remember we were talking a few months back about the poker game? I think that was what, 2 or 3 years ago now you had that poker game? But the pot was so big, by the time everybody was done playing and you ended up winning, that feeling that you had, you carried that, well, you're still carrying that feeling around. Imagine that feeling all over again, and that will bring up your vibration again. Things will start to open up. It may not happen today. It could happen today. It may not happen tomorrow, but it very likely will. You got to give yourself a little bit of time. We're in a 3D world where things actually take time. As much as we'd like to have everything instantly, this isn't Google, this isn't click a button, poof, there it is. Got to give yourself a little bit of time. But you can work on the ways to open up your energy. And one of the other things I recommend, and I know you don't really like this because we've had that conversation, and that's okay, but you can do it when nobody's looking. Is dance in the living room, in the kitchen, whatever. Dancing raises your vibration, and that is one of the key factors to keep your energy up, to allow yourself to receive and give. And like I said, giving doesn't have to be a monetary gift. It can be giving somebody a ride to the store. You know, it can be offering to walk the neighbor's dog because they twisted their ankle, right? Think about it in other ways. What else can I do? Because these are all energetic movements. And the more energy you put into something, the more you're going to receive back. It's pretty simple once we get the hang of it. But it's also about changing the way you look at things. And this is something we have a little difficulty do because our little brain likes habits. It likes habits. But that's okay. This is what we do. We're a habit creature. In spite of the fact that we say we want change sometimes, the mind wants to keep us in the same old habits because the mind only wants to keep us safe. Your mind's sole goal in life is to keep you safe. So you're just going to have to work through that a little bit. Reach out, talk to somebody, go talk to that little old lady down the road and see if she needs help with her groceries this week. Start with something small and then work up to it. And then remember that poker game that you won again. And that pot, that was pretty big. How did that feel? And you remember what you did with the money? Mm-hmm. You can do that again. Yes, you can. So imagine that feeling all over again. And imagine this time add a 0 to the pot. See what happens. How would that feel? And then hang on to that feeling for a few moments. And then just let things happen. Carry on about your day. Do what you have to do, but allow your imagination to take a few side steps and enjoy yourself. If you have any other questions about it, feel free to email me. You know, I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And as always, I wish you a beautiful, magical day. And you know, you have that power by changing the thoughts, by changing your vibration. And when nobody's looking, dance around the kitchen. All right. Have a beautiful day. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.